am now a musical theatre graduate, and today's video is in two parts. The first part will be a video I filmed of my reaction to my results, and the second part will be me talking about graduation. If you're new to my channel, then welcome to the Performing Arts in Me. My name is Millie and I am a graduate from London Studio Centre, where I trained in musical theatre for 3 years. I've just graduated. Firstly, I did just want to say the results part of the video is not there for comparison. So if you have just graduated, or you are at LSC or anything like that, or you've been at LSC and you feel like you're likely to compare results or compare how you're doing with my results, then please don't watch that part of the video, because I really don't want it to be for comparison. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to put it up for that reason. I'm pretty open about sharing results and things like that anyway, so I'm happy to share it, and I think the video will do well on YouTube. That's literally the reason I'm posting it. If you feel like you will compare yourself, please don't watch that part of the video. Please skip to the second half of the video. I will put timestamps so you can skip ahead, use the chapters. Don't compare yourself, please. Now, without further ado, please enjoy me reacting to my results. Today, I am going to be reacting to my results of my degree, which I believe I've just got through on an email. So just before I open the results, I just want to say that I am hoping for a 2-1, because I've been averaging a 2-2 in first and second year-ish, although it's a bit hard to tell. You kind of have to work it out, because I don't know how all the weighting works. But generally, I think in first and second year, I've been averaging around a 2-2. I think in third year, our dissertation is quite a weighty part of our mark, and my written stuff is normally my stronger stuff. So I'm hoping that that's been able to push me up to a 2-1. Obviously, I'd love a first, but I think realistically, 2-1 is probably more likely. The other thing I want to say, which is really weird, is I kind of don't really mind what I've got as long as I've passed. I would really like a 2-1 or a first, because I'm considering doing an MA at some point in the future, and that would make it easier to get onto an MA programme. But apart from that, like, I don't really mind. I've learned so much at LSC, and like, because I'm doing this as a vocational degree, what's more important to me is the skills I've learned. Anyway, I'm going to get the email up and open my results. Okay, I have the email. Let me open it properly. It's just popped up. Yes, I want to open it. Okay. I got a first. I got a first. Okay. Wow. Okay, module 1. M601, which is basically all of our like technique stuff. So I had ballet, dance and musical theatre, singing, acting and harmony. Got 56, 57 in ballet. Wait, what is it? Is it? I think 40 is a third, 50s a 2-2, 60s a 2-1, and then 70 is a first. So ballet was 57, so that's a 2-2. Dance for MT was a 2-2. Singing was a 2-1. Look at me go with the singing. Wow. Singing was a 2-1, acting was a 2-1, and then harmony was a third. I'm not surprised. My harmony assessment was really bad. The first half I was really ill. I did it on 2 separate days. The first half I was really ill, and I'd only been practicing the song about a week. And then the second half was a bit better, but 45. I'm not surprised. It was not a good assessment. So 56 total, which means 2-2 for technique. It's not just technique, but it's called the professional practitioner. It's not just technique. They're assessing like your performance and everything as well. 2-2. Okay. And then the next one, M602, creation, performance and production. So this is for our show performance and for our Agent Week assessment. So not that Agent Week was assessed, but it's an assessment that's related to Agent Week. So I have 55 and 61. I'm assuming the 55 is for the Agent Week 1 and 61 is for the seed time. So that's a 2-2 and a 2-1. So overall, I got 59, which is a 2-1. And then my third one is employability and practice, which was a video kind of reflective essay kind of thing we had to do. Presentation, that's the word, and a reflective video presentation. I got 78, so that's a first. And then independent creative research project, which is our final module, which was our equivalent to our dissertation, is 77, so that is also a first. My overall degree being a first, which is quite exciting. I'm really happy with that, and that'll make applying to MA so much easier. It is kind of annoying that my best marks, I'm really happy with the first, obviously. Like I was just saying, I would I'd like to do one. So I'm so happy with the first. That's incredible. I wish my practical marks were better because that's what I'm going to be doing when I leave. No one's going to care whether I can write an essay, but I'm not surprised. I always knew my written marks were going to be higher. And I put like a lot of work into my ICRP, so I'm really glad that it paid off. Yeah, first class degree. Wow. Cool. Okay, welcome to part 2 of the video, where I'm going to be talking a little bit about what happened at graduation. We actually got 2 graduations because my degree is validated by Middlesex University. So I trained at London Studio Centre, so we got a London Studio Centre graduation, but my degree, being like an official academic qualification, is validated by Middlesex University. So we got a Middlesex University graduation as well. Now I actually only got to go to my Middlesex University graduation, so that is the one I will be talking about. The reason for this is because my London Studio Centre graduation would have clashed with the matinee performance of Vision the Musical, which I'm currently in. I've spoken about that in a previous video, so I'll link that in the cards if you want to go and hear a bit more about Vision. But yes, I only went to Middlesex University graduation, so that's the one I'm going to be talking about. First of all, in terms of booking, so when we booked, we were allowed to book 2 tickets for guests, 1 ticket for ourselves, and you could also book like your robe hire and photography and stuff like that. You could also book, I think, maybe tickets for people to watch it, not watching the ceremony in the venue, but like watching it at other places around the campus where they were going to be like screening it. A little bit later on, they opened up bookings for extra tickets if there were extra tickets available to buy for extra guests. However, this came out for us on the day of our sits probe for our end of year show. I tried to book. The website was not playing ball. I had about 10 error messages on my phone, like because the website wasn't working. I was also trying to book extra tickets for a couple of other people because they'd had an issue getting hold of their initial guest tickets, but I couldn't get any extra tickets because the website was not working. I then got home that evening. I think I tried again. I was still getting error messages, this time on my laptop, so I was like, oh, I'll try again in a bit. Tried again a few days later. By the time I tried again, they were all gone. So I only had 2 guest tickets, which were for my parents, which was fine. It wasn't the end of the world, but just to let you know, tickets may be hard to access. Okay, my number 1 piece of advice for graduation is on the day, get there early, because there was quite a lot of queuing involved, and I think someone had said this in advance, but yeah, there was quite a lot of queuing involved. Oh, before I get started on that, I just wanted to say about what to wear. So I think it said something like formal or like smart clothing or something like that, and I was like, do we wear a long dress or a short dress? Like, what's the vibe here? I went with a short dress. When I say short, I mean like just above the knees, and there was a mix. Some people were in long, some people were in short, so it's kind of personal preference, so don't stress about that. I also thought about the fact that I was going to be wearing a robe. I looked at roughly how long the robes were likely to be, and I looked at what the neckline of the robe is. I don't know, it's probably got a proper name. The little V thing, I looked at like the shape of that and the colour when I was choosing my dress, so I don't know if you would also want to consider that. So yeah, as I was saying, on the day, get there early. We queued for like signing in, or like, which was basically picking up your name card, and there was actually an error on pretty much all of the LSC name cards. We had the wrong courses on most of the name cards, like the wrong degree titles. My degree title is BA Hons Professional Dance Performance brackets musical theatre, but my degree title on my card was BA Hons Professional Dance Performance brackets Jazz and Commercial Dance, which is the jazz pathway one, and I was on musical theatre pathway. So I had to then queue up for a help desk, and they were like, just cross it out and because they read that card out, that was how they read out your degree titles. So all the LSC ones were a bit mixed up, but we just corrected them, and it was fine in the end. So I had to queue to pick up the card, queue to find out what to do about changing the card. I then had to queue to get my robe and my hat, which I had pre-ordered, and I'm kind of between 5'4" and 5'5", so I was like, do I pick a 5'4" or a 5'5" robe? I went with 5'4" in the end, and I'm very glad I did, because I am over 5'4", and maybe I need to re-measure myself, but I'm pretty sure I'm over 5'4", and I had like 3-4 inch heels on, I don't know, but the robe came to like the bottom of my heel of my foot, so if I hadn't have had heels on, I probably would have been treading on it. Okay, I'm gonna have to speed this up because my camera overheated. So yeah, we had to queue to get robes, we then and hats, which they put on us ourselves. When the lady gave me my hat, she was like, how does that feel? I was like, it feels a little bit loose actually, because you measure your head as well. And she was like, oh, I've got a couple of pins here, so she put a couple of hairpins in, but it might be worth bringing a couple with you in case wherever you're graduating from doesn't have any, or whoever's fitting your stuff doesn't have any. A few people's hats did slide off as they walked across the stage, which isn't the end of the world, because like it happened to a few people, but if you don't want that to happen, you might want to bring a few grips with you. We then queued for photos, which was quite a long queue actually. I paid in advance for a digital photo, which therefore meant I obviously had to have the photo taken. So I just queued for the photo to be taken, which was fine. I don't know if you could book slots or if some people did have slots, but I don't know.
The photographer was someone I already knew, who I'd met on a modelling thing that I did in September. That was really nice to see her and have someone that I knew taking my grad photo. That was quite special. Had the photos, they sent us those after the event. We could choose the one we wanted and they did edits on it, I think, and then sent it back to us. Then we went to the venue, which was like a massive white marquee thing. I say a marquee, it was quite a solid marquee. Like it wasn't just like a tent marquee, it was like a solid marquee. So they separated us from our guests. So our guests went one way and we went the other. They sat us down in our chairs, which were like allocated because it was in order of, I think, how they wanted you to come up. And I think they were organised by course, but obviously all our courses had got mixed up. So the idea was they'd just read out BA1's professional dance performance, musical theatre, and then they'd read out a list of names in alphabetical order of all of the people who did BA1's professional dance performance, brackets musical theatre. But because of the mix up of which courses we were on, everyone was a little bit mixed up. So they ended up reading out the different courses so many times for us lot. So it must have taken a little while longer than they were hoping to get through all the LSC students. It wasn't just LSC students there were some Middlesex University students there as well. There were also some MA students, they weren't all BAs. When we came in, they were playing on the screen a PowerPoint or like a slide rotation of videos that people's friends and family had sent in congratulating them on their graduation. Then there were a couple of speeches and they explained what was going to happen, which is we walked up one side of the stage, walked across. I think we were supposed to bow in the middle to the dean, I want to say, or the principal or someone important academically who was in the middle of the stage. I don't know if they told us that in the room or if that was just written on the email, which I hadn't really read properly, but I had a quick skim through of someone's next to me because I didn't have my phone on me because we were told to give everything to our guests. Some people did give their phones and some people didn't. So my friend next to me had her phone, so we had a quick check of the email. So you were supposed to bow to the person in the middle. I gave them like a little nod bow rather than like a full bow at the end of show bow. I think about half did and half didn't. So yeah, you went up one side, they brought you out in a row, queued you up, they checked your robes and stuff and your hat if you didn't want them to adjust your robe. But I just let them adjust it, and then I went up on stage, walked across, bowed to the person in the middle, got my certificate well, it wasn't a certificate, it was just a scroll as a filler certificate because we get them afterwards. Got my scroll and shook hands with someone and then exited the stage. And that was my graduation. There were a couple of speeches at the beginning. They gave out like an honorary award and that person did a speech, and I think they had someone else did a speech, and the person who explained how we get up on stage did a speech, and then I think there was one at the end. And in terms of who was there from the college, there were 3 LSC members of staff there, which was really nice because the weird thing about this graduation is I'd never been to Middlesex University campus. They were like, do you know where you're going? And I was like, nope. I'd never been there. I didn't know most of the staff up there apart from the 3 LSC staff. So it was kind of a bit weird in that respect. Obviously I knew my classmates and my course mates and my parents, but it didn't have all the LSC staff, which the LSC graduation would have had more LSC staff there. So I'm really sad that I didn't get to go to my LSC graduation as well. But the Middlesex graduation was really nice, and I'm glad I got to have one. Even if I had to miss the LSC one, I'm glad I still got to have a graduation ceremony. Then after we finished, we all exited the venue, and there was like a reception area in one of the buildings. I don't know what any of these buildings are called because I've never been to Middlesex University before that day. But like in this like atrium area, they said there were like drinks and stuff, which I think were available to buy rather than have. But I didn't have any of those, and we just went outside the front and took some photos, and that was kind of the end. Gave the robe back and gave the hat back, and that was the end of the ceremony. So that is everything for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, please do give it a like to let me know, and I would really appreciate you subscribing, and thank you very much for watching. Bye!